Hello, and welcome to Leadership as a Philosophy, Not a Checklist, Infographic Review number 3. I'm sure by the 10th time I'll get that right. So today's infographic is going to be one called The Guide to Mastering Leaders or something like that. I'm going to apologize a little bit because my technology has failed me and I didn't want to use AI anyway. The picture that I downloaded, and just so you know, when I download these, I pull up a search engine, I type in leadership infographics, and then I kind of look at a few to make sure they're actually leadership. And after I looked at about 5 or 6, I pick one. So it's completely random. I know nothing about them, have no affiliation with anybody that did them. But anyway, this graphic I downloaded and it was in a JPEG. And as soon as I put it in a PowerPoint, it got all fuzzy. And I was trying to sharpen it and everything, but I found out a workaround. So we're going to do a workaround. I apologize. Anyway, this is the standard that we use for the infographics as always. Remember, look up here because I'm going to put the card for the Archetypal Leadership Model, which is what we derive all of this from. And this is basically the combination of character traits and talent to see if somebody's a leader. And if the infographic represents that, then that's a good thing. And then just so I can prove to you that I'm not full of garbage, this is what it looked like when I put it into PowerPoint. So like I said, we're going to do a little bit of messing around here and go through it this way. This is just using paint. So for some reason it looks perfect this way. As soon as I put it in PowerPoint, it looked like garbage. What are you going to do? Okay. So mastering the role of leader, a discussion with Tom Roth, Michael Leinbach, PhD, and David Yesford. And this is from Wilson Learning, which is all the way down at the bottom. You'll see that in a minute. So what is leadership? Well, as we always talk about, we're going to get technical. So this is mastering the role of leader. First problem. What's leadership? Some see leadership as command and control. Others see it as inspiration and values. So what is it? We haven't even defined it, and yet we're saying that you're going to master it. Now, we do have a little bit of a definition over here. It says the purpose of a leader is to engage others in committing their full energy to the creation of value and success. So again, that's not a great definition. There's no action in that. I'm going to get you to commit your full energy to create value and success. Success in what? I assume that's a goal. Value is to be competent, right? I'm assuming, and to commit their full energy into creation of that. That's not leadership. We've talked about it. Leadership is attuning competence and environment in pursuit of a goal. And so this is nothing about that. Although engaging could be the environment. I mean, it's very vague. It sounds pretty, but it means nothing. Then what is leadership? So you got executive leaders, mid-level leaders, and first-level leaders. So it says executives are responsible for the overall leadership of the organization. Mid-level leaders managers of departments or functions. Okay, so you've already messed up because we've talked about it in other videos that, well, actually, I'm going to link the definition chapter up here somewhere. So if your definition, this person's a leader and their job is to manage, well, they're not a leader, they're a manager. And so if you want somebody to be a leader, then you need to define what leadership is. But this is just management, managing and supervising individual contributors. That's not leadership. That's just management. You manage things, you lead people. Okay. So we're going to go down here. Leadership survival skills. Okay, you can't just get the job done anymore. You need to do it through others. Okay, what does that mean? You can't get the individual task done? Well, the problem is already this is a mess. every job has a certain number of tasks that are supposed to be accomplished at that position. And so if you saying you can't get the job done yourself, if that means that you're not a leader, because there are leadership functions that you have to serve in that position and you have to do them. You can't do everybody else's job. If you're doing other people's jobs, then you don't have good people. I think that's what this is trying to say. But again, it's completely confusing. You can't get the job done. You can't just get the job done yourself. I've always said it, and I've seen it several times. In most organizations, there's probably 3 or 4 things that only the leader can do. The leader of the team, the leader of the group, the GM, whatever you want to call it. Pretty much everything else can be done by the people that are working because people are not idiots. So you empower them, you give them lots of latitude. Here's the goals, and then you can focus on what you need to do and also looking out. All right, so motivated employees, communicating, defining tasks and goals, delegating with confidence, observing behavior, hey, vigilance, providing feedback and coaching, resolving conflict, helping others solve problems. Okay. Now, are you ready? The reason I said that whole little rant at the beginning is because these are the functions that should be done by a leader. So you have to do these. The day-to-day tasks that you've hired other people to do, they have to do. So when you say you can't get the job done yourself anymore, this is your job. So you have to get it done if you're going to be an effective leader. So they say the right thing, but they've got the wrong conclusion, right? Here's all the things you're supposed to do, but you can't do these yourself. Yes, you do. You have to do these things. Establishing leadership credibility. So this one's got technical expertise, energy, finance, operations. So expertise is your source of credibility. Well, then you go to leadership, and it says here, first level leaders often resort to leading with their technical expertise. The challenge for new leaders is to rely less on their functional credibility and instead establish their credibility. So what have we said over and over and over again in this series? If you've got a team, say you've got 5 people or 10 people on a team, and the requirement is super technical, and you've got 2 or 3 people that are the master technicians, and then you've got one person that isn't the master technician but is really good at facilitating and helping and feeding those guys, those people, whatever, and helping them out and coordinating stuff for them and making their job easier. But you don't put one of your best technicians in charge. You put that person in charge, the facilitator, because it's 2 completely different skill sets. You can have somebody who's the best technician, the best salesperson, the best at this one specific task that is absolutely terrible when they're in charge of people. So why would you shoot yourself in the foot by doing that? And so when they say first level leaders resort to leading with expertise, well, if you're promoting the expert, then that's all that they've got. There are people that are great technicians and great leaders, but they're rare. And so that's the thing that I find so interesting. You get your leadership credibility by taking care of people, by doing all these other sort of things. Well, you should have been doing that already. That you should have identified that before. You take the best salesperson, promote them to being in charge of a team of salespeople, you just lost your best salesperson. And they're probably going to be grouchy because they want to sell and not take care of people. And then they're going to treat people bad. And so that you come over here to technical expertise is you need to know how to do, you need to understand the basic functions of the job or the tasks for the team. And so from leadership essence, character perspective, new first level leaders require the wisdom to make leadership their source of credibility. Well, find somebody who's wise and the team is voluntarily following, and that's who you promote. And then you've already got the leadership credibility because people are already understanding that they're good at that. Okay. As leaders move into mid-level leadership, their focus shifts to growing skills to help grow other capabilities and help the department and ultimately the organization grow. Well, just up here, you said that the mid-level leaders was supposed to manage a department or a function. I think that this is incorrect. If you are given the leadership role, your job is to make the team better. I don't care if your team's 5 people. I don't care if your team's 10 people. You have to find out what they need, what resources they need within the boundaries of the job, and get the environment set up so that those people can thrive and reach their ultimate potential. That's what a leader does. You put them in charge of a higher group, then they're doing the same sort of thing. But management and leadership are not the same things. Management should be nowhere on this chart if it's a leadership chart. So the critical shift requires the leaders to understand the importance of building capability in others rather than being a heroic manager who controls or micromanages people. What did I say at the beginning? The leader's job is to do leader job stuff. You're supposed to train and delegate and give everybody else the power that they need to do their job. So leadership growth skills, team goal setting, problem solving, facilitation, cross-functional collaboration, negotiation, and delegation. Well, these are the same skills that are needed by the first line leader, right? If you got a leader, leadership's leadership. It doesn't matter what level you're at. You need to take care of people. All this stuff is the same at every level. This one just confuses me. Many new leaders tend to rely on getting their signals from external sources. Moving to mid-level leadership is a big step, big increase in responsibility in a greater span, causing leaders to focus on what they think they need to succeed. Shouldn't you focus on what you need to succeed? I don't understand. How is that somehow negative? And then I need to have power and authority to control so I can do more, create, change, and improve, and then I'll be successful. I don't know who thinks that way. A management type might think that way, but a leader is, what can we do to make the team better? Somebody who's got the innate talent is going to inherently react or try to improve everything. And then here's, for a purpose and value-centered leader, an internal focus leads to a renewed set of values. Having a clear sense of essence, character, provides a foundation that makes their leadership skills effective. What character? What sense of essence? It's like, I'm not that smart. And so if I don't understand, this has nothing to do with leadership. External is appearance is more important, responding to signals from others. Success is measured by appreciation. Life is lived on approval. Depth is more important, responds to values. Success is measured by contribution to others. Life lived in purpose. I don't understand, because setting the example is appearance. So you have to do the right thing, because then it appears that you're doing the right thing. You have to respond to signals from others, right? That's what I talk about with vigilance all the time. If you're a leader, you have to have a vigilance. Vigilance is watching yourself, watching the team, watching how you're interacting with the team, making sure that you're not doing something that's interfering with the team, making sure that you're not checking out at the wrong time or checking in at the wrong time. There are times, it's over here, something about micromanagement. There are rare times that you have to step in and say, look, this team has violated with the regulations 6 times. I'm taking over. And I'm going to show everybody what's done. And then if it doesn't get done, we're going to start getting rid of people, because it's some sort of super bad thing that's going to happen. And if they've failed it that many times, you can't just say, well, you guys need to figure that out. No. I always say, take care of the things that are going to get you fired fastest first. And so if the things that are going to get you fired in 2 minutes are not being done correctly, get to work. Oh, sorry. And then powerful leaders have learned to focus on internal, not external signals. See, that's just, rather than taking their signals from external sources, I must have blah, 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 blah. I don't understand this at all. Internal. What kind of person do I want to be remembered as? What does that have to do with leadership? What do I need to do as a leader so that I'll be remembered well? I want to have a sense of how to contribute to the success of others by understanding how it's not about you. Leadership is not about you. There's nothing in here about how do I train, develop, take care of the team? How do I work on competence? How do I try to find the best person for the job? I got very excited when I got to this last spot. So character at all leadership levels is the culmination of the leadership essence journey. Okay, so we got character. Having a clear sense of essence, character, provides the foundation that makes leadership skills effective. What are they talking about? Okay. So leaders at all levels must make the transition from a leader who, instead of seeking power, empowers. Well, empowering is good. A leader who, instead of seeking control, frees you up. Okay. As long as you earned it, as long as you're doing the right thing with your freedom. A leader who, instead of being served, serves. Well, that's easy. That's right. I mean, as a leader, I always say it, you're more of a shepherd than a servant. But you are serving your people by taking care of them. And by taking care of them, sometimes you got to punish them. Sometimes you got to reward them. Sometimes you got to motivate. You got to do all this stuff. A leader who has a strong sense of his or her essence. And a leader who's seen as courageous. So we get nothing. We get humility from serving, and then empowering people, because that's the humility to let something go. So really, the definition of leadership isn't here, right? In conclusion, definition of leadership isn't here. I don't understand what this purpose and value-centered stuff means. These are good things that a leader should be able to do, but it doesn't matter what level you're at. These are key roles that a leader should do, and you should do them yourself. So this thing's got a bunch of internal conflicts, and I don't understand it. Humility, integrity, empathy, and vigilance, and then attuned competence and environment in pursuit of the goal. That's leadership. And the problem is that you take that thing and you can apply it over and over and over and over and over again. This is one of those things that says, boy, there's all these things that leaders are doing, and they're at different times and different conditions and different situations. Well, that's why you need a philosophy. That's why the philosophy exists. All right, sorry I had to do an edit because this thing looked worse on the second page than it did before. So again, great graphics, people with PhDs talking about this stuff, but we're missing, there's a couple of things on here that are useful to leadership, but they're buried in so much obfuscation that it's a problem. And so, unfortunately, for the second week in a row, this is the grade. So if I were a new leader and you handed me this chart, I would be lost. I consider myself, after 5 or 6 years of studying this ridiculously and then doing it for 20 years, I still don't understand it. So you get credit for producing something, because better graphics than I have, as you can tell. Anyway, I appreciate your time and attention. And as always, like I said, if you have an infographic, even if it's something for your company, and you want me to look at it, email it to the email that's in the show description. And if you need me to anonymize it, I will recreate it on PowerPoint or recreate it on something and take out anything that looks company related, because a lot of these copy from each other too. So you shouldn't get in too much trouble unless you think it's excellent, and then it'll be great. Okay, that's all that I have. Hope you have a great day.